The moment Gene Deal stepped out and delivered that dark warning, Mase and Cameron went from laughing on camera to sitting in complete shock. This wasn't regular industry talk. Gene was letting them know the game still has shadows, secrets, and consequences that don't disappear just because you're telling jokes on a podcast. And tonight, we're breaking down exactly why that warning shook the whole culture.
These clowns out here was gonna go out there and make videos.
I just wanna go home. I just wanna be home.
Mase, say names.
Your security crying behind the car.
Damn. People look at me as being bad boy security.
Yeah, this blanket. It's like, what?
Oh, Gene Deal was crying for the blanket. Gene Deal was this, that, and the. Gene Deal was this, that, and the third.
But he there for security.
What you think I'm gonna be doing when you doing all that to Gene Deal? I bet you really don't wanna know.
Just can't tell me nothing. That's why when be talking tough, I said, man, just save it. I done seen all that. Nigga said he wanna just go home.
Oh,
and be this blanket. He's like, what?
But he there for security.
I'm never gonna be in this position.
I just want to go home and
I just want to be under my blanket.
Crazy.
Oh, we gotta get out of here. God, you get me out of here. I'm never fooling with these niggas.
When Gene Deal sent that warning toward Mase and Cameron, the entire internet felt the temperature drop instantly, because Gene isn't known for talking loosely, and he definitely isn't known for speaking unless something is serious. This wasn't some random celebrity message or a lighthearted response. This was a man who lived through hip-hop's most dangerous era, stepping forward to let two Harlem legends know they were entering territory that comes with consequences. Everything started when Mase and Cam were joking around on their show, diving into old industry stories, names, situations, and secret dynamics from the 90s and early 2000s. And while their comedy usually goes viral for being harmless and hilarious, this particular episode hit nerves they didn't expect. They mentioned certain topics tied to the bad boy era, certain people connected to unsolved tragedies, and certain events Gene Deal personally witnessed. And once Gene watched it, he didn't laugh. He didn't clap back. He didn't roast them. Instead, he calmly delivered a warning that carried the weight of someone who has seen too much.
Trying to picture your facial reaction to I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
If my security holding me down in Cali, is somebody, the #1 rapper in the world, get killed, you're telling you, I just need to want to go home. And the second top artist in the world, which is Mase, about to be #1. Nigga said, that's why I'm saying I wonder his face, because I'm like, if y'all let do that to Big, I don't stand a chance.
Gene Deal's tone alone told the whole story. He spoke like a man who has watched friends die, careers crumble, and lives get shattered because of information getting into the wrong hands. He told Mase and Cam straight up that the things they were joking about weren't jokes to the people who lived them. He said names they casually tossed around were tied to real street situations, real violence, real conspiracies, and real bodies. And when someone like Gene says that, you don't brush it off, you listen. Because Gene was there during the darkest moments of bad boy history. Moments that fans speculate about but insiders fear. The Biggie situation, the pack tension, the raids, the investigations, the threats. Gene lived it all firsthand. So when he stepped out and basically told Mase and Cam, be careful what you're laughing about, the message hit hard.
Say, if you gonna say something, be man of motherfucking never to name names. When I tell a motherfucking story, Rick, I tell it with the name.
Everybody trying to go viral. Everybody trying to go viral. Everybody trying to go viral out here.
Yeah.
Mase and Cam's reaction said everything. They didn't clap back, they didn't double down, they didn't turn it into a comedy bit. They sat quietly on their next show, looking visibly uncomfortable, like two dudes who suddenly realized they poked something they had no business poking. And that's rare for Mase and Cam, two of the funniest, most confident personalities in hip-hop. But Gene's warning wasn't about intimidation. It was about protection. He knows the industry still has pockets of darkness, stories that never came out, alliances that never dissolved, and people who still hold grudges decades later. Bringing those topics up casually can stir the wrong energy, attract attention from the wrong people, or even reopen wounds that were never truly healed. And Gene didn't mince words. He said that some things Mase and Cam touched on were tied to investigations that never fully closed, cases with missing pieces, and secrets that certain people still want hidden. His message was, don't let entertainment lead you into danger. And the way he said it made the whole culture realize this wasn't drama. This was a warning from someone who had survived things others didn't.
Now the content creators who went out there and they started running off by their mouth, trying to make airways and trying to make a show. Here go a grown-ass man, Mase and Cameron, made suggestions to Bad Boy Security. These clowns out here was gonna go out there and make videos. When you do stuff like that, you gotta know right now that people look at me as being Bad Boy Security. You gotta be clear. As soon as that drop, you got 5 or 6 out there. Oh, Gene Deal was crying for the blanket. Gene Deal was this, that, and the Gene Deal was this, that, and the third. You already know, Mase. When you doing all that stuff to Gene Deal, what do Gene Deal supposed to be doing while you doing all that? I bet you really don't want to know. What you think I'm going to be doing when you doing all that to Gene Deal? They can play if they want to, but if they know what I know, they better find somebody else to play with. I never had to tell Big Noom shit. Keep it a buck. I never had to tell Big Noom shit. I told Big to his face, if you go to this party tonight, one of y'all gonna die. Some people gonna die if you go to this party tonight.
As Gene kept speaking, the message got deeper and darker, revealing just how dangerous the past really was. He explained that the industry Mase and Cam came up in wasn't the fun, viral, meme-filled world we see today. Back then, hip-hop was tied to the streets in ways people now can't even comprehend. Labels had alliances with crews. Artists had ties to real hitters. Money was flowing in ways that didn't always come from music. And when Gene said Mase and Cam were playing with ghosts, he wasn't exaggerating. He meant the stories they were discussing still have people attached to them who don't want their names being brought up at all. Gene Deal also reminded them that certain events from the 90s were never fully explained to the public. Everyone knows the headlines, but only insiders like Gene know the real timelines, the motives, the people involved, and the decisions that led to tragedy. So when Mase and Cam joked about individuals tied to those times, even if they didn't say anything malicious, it brought back memories Gene didn't find humorous, because the pain tied to those moments is still real. The industry may have moved on, but survivors like Gene still carry the weight. He said the culture romanticizes the past, forgetting how dangerous it actually was. And when the younger generation sees Mase and Cam laughing about things they don't fully explain, it creates a disconnect between entertainment and truth.
If you want to say something, Mase, tell us why you didn't go. Mase, why you didn't go to the party? Mase, why you didn't go to the party?
Because I was in a hotel with Brandy.
Why you didn't go? Brandy told you, you told me that Brandy told you, let's go to the party. Why you didn't go to the party?
I didn't go to the party because all y'all seem like snakes. And I'm not going to be no
So Mase, who told you? Mase, didn't I tell you? Listen to him, Mase. Did I tell? Let's keep it 100. When you was riding around.
Let me answer.
Go ahead.
Let me answer the question. You guys went to security. If somebody shot the biggest rapper in the world, why y'all didn't shoot back? Y'all had guns?
Mase, let me ask you something. I'm gonna get to that. Mase, one question. When you was riding around Cali with Stevie J, didn't I pull you to the side and say, what the fuck is you doing in a drop-top Benz riding around with Stevie J around Cali? Did I say that to you? Mase? That's some
The most chilling part was when Gene said, some of these people are still alive. That line alone made fans pause. Because in hip-hop, when someone with Gene's knowledge says something like that, he's not talking about regular people. He's talking about individuals who maintain power, influence, and access. the type of people who don't want old stories resurfacing, the type of people who see curiosity as disrespect. Gene was essentially telling Mase and Cam, y'all got a big platform now, be careful how you use it. And it wasn't because he didn't respect them, it was because he cared. He didn't want them accidentally shining a spotlight on people who move in silence. Mase and Cam, to their credit, took the message seriously. They acknowledged Gene's point, admitting that sometimes their jokes hit places they didn't intend. But even with the respect they showed, you could still see the shock in their faces when they processed everything Gene was saying. The warning wasn't just a slow down, it was a reality check. This industry may look different now, but the roots haven't changed, and some roots grow underground. Fans reacted instantly. Comment sections turned into debates about whether Mase and Cam should continue discussing old industry secrets or leave them alone. Some said the truth needs to come out no matter how uncomfortable it is. Others said Gene was right. Certain things are better left buried because exposing them could harm people mentally, legally, or worse. One thing was clear, Gene's warning opened the world's eyes to how unsafe certain stories still are.
In a hotel with a young lady.
And when you heard this information, what was your next actions?
My next actions? After what?
When you heard Biggie died, did you stay in your hotel room? Did you leave out? Did you want to go back to New York?
I actually was trapped in a hotel.
Now I want to ask a question. What do you mean trapped?
It was about probably like 70 or so bloods in the hallway. I couldn't even leave my room.
How'd you get out?
One of the guys.
Why would it be 70 bloods in your hallway after Biggie Smalls died?
Actually, after Big got killed, they was probably looking for more bad boy artists. And I couldn't even leave the room till Gene Dill, the officer had to come get me.
As the dust from Gene's message settled, people started revisiting the exact moments that triggered his warning. Mase and Cam had been discussing specific figures connected to the bad boy era, not accusing anyone of crimes, but questioning behaviors, timelines, and motives. They joked about security details, old conflict rumors, and mysterious moments from the 90s that fans still debate online. But what they didn't realize was how sensitive those topics still are to the people who were actually there. Gene Deal was one of the few who saw every side of those events, the business side, the street side, the private side, and the aftermath. He saw the bodies drop, the friendships crumble, the careers end, and the investigations unfold. So when he watched two influential voices casually break down those moments for entertainment, he felt responsible for stepping in. Gene wasn't angry, he was protective. He said things like, "Y'all laughing, but there were mothers crying behind those stories." That line hit different. It reminded everyone that behind every juicy industry rumor is a human life, a family, a tragedy. And that's something Mase and Cam, in the middle of their comedic flow, overlooked. Their platform is huge. Their words reach millions. And when they speak on the past, it doesn't just entertain, it reopens history. Gene also said he respected Mase and Cam's success, but wanted them to stop speaking from a distance. Meaning, if they're going to discuss serious topics, they need to be accurate, responsible, and aware of the danger their words carry. He emphasized that the industry isn't full of harmless stories. There are cases still under surveillance, witnesses still alive, law enforcement still watching, and enemies still unresolved. Talking too loosely could spark investigations, reignite old tension, or push the wrong people into the spotlight.
So he was trying to divert that whole conversation and make it seem like, so Gene, why you didn't shoot? Listen to me. It wasn't because Big wasn't my principal. And he knew the fact that we had blew the light and we was halfway down the block, crossed the light, and then when the first shot went off, our driver took straight off. I'm screaming at our driver because he was told that somebody was pointing a gun at Big and them. He should have just threw the car in reverse. He knew the whole story, my man, because me and him had a conversation on the phone. He the one told me, well, I was in the room with Brandy and Brandy was trying to get me out the room to come to the party. So I felt that was kind of weird. So she said Brandy was calling me trying to get me out the room to come to the party. Well, you was in the room with Brandy. How's she calling you to try to get you out the room to come to the party? You know what I'm saying? This was going through my mind. But Mase knew the whole situation. Mase knew that it's no way possible that I was able, being sideways in the car, because Puff, when I got in the car, Puff had put his seat back. Now I'm sideways in the car like this, and I'm cussing him out like, yo, man, what the f is you doing? Why you got your seat back like this?
This is why Gene's warning was so heavy. It wasn't just about protecting Mase and Cam. It was about protecting the culture from false narratives and unnecessary drama. He reminded them that some people didn't survive the era they're laughing about. Some people lost everything. Some people still fear retaliation. And some names simply can't be spoken without consequences. The craziest part is how fans reacted. Some said Gene was trying to silence the truth. Others said Mase and Cam were becoming too bold and needed to chill. But most people agreed that the warning came from a place of experience, not intimidation. Gene didn't want to stop conversation. He wanted to prevent destruction. Mase and Cam addressed Gene respectfully afterward, acknowledging that maybe they pushed the line. But even then, the tension in their voices showed that Gene's words rattled them, not because they were scared, but because they realized the past is much darker than the jokes make it seem. By the time the situation settled, one thing became crystal clear. Gene Deal wasn't giving a warning. He was giving wisdom. He was telling Mase and Cam that their platform now carries a responsibility that most entertainers never have to think about. Their show isn't just comedy. It's cultural commentary, historical reflection, and investigative conversation all wrapped into one. And when you talk about the past with that level of influence, you're no longer just entertainers. You're narrators of history. A wrong joke can become misinformation. A misunderstood story can spark conflict. And an innocent question can turn into a dangerous assumption.
We hear the shot, bow! Puff put his head down. I go to open the door. Kenny flies, going straight. So he knew the whole story. What I supposed to do? Put my gun out the window and just start shooting like this? When the car had already turned the corner, it came out of parking space. So he knew the story, bruh. He was trying to just divert the attention of, well, why security? So ask security, ask big security, ask Paul, ask the LAPD. The LAPD officer that was right there, they was right behind. Paul was outside the car. Why didn't they shoot? Why when we turn back around and come down the street, that they way down the block, they coming back when we get back to the car. When we get back to the car, nobody's in Big's car, but Big. Mase knew this. Me and Mase had this conversation. Him and Tone is like this. He knew me and Tone jumped in the car and chased after the guy. We couldn't catch him. He wanted to divert the attention from himself because why didn't you tell Big that these dudes was trying to get at you, bruh? You had that conversation with with Puff, but you ain't had that conversation with Big. Big was your label mate. So people come on and talk, why you ain't shoot? Listen to me, bro. At that time, I was young, dumb, and full of cum. Anybody who really knows me know that they ain't gotta worry about nothing if it comes to the point where gunplay has to be a part of my security. I'm not gonna hesitate, because I never bodyguard anybody that I wasn't willing to lay down my life for.
Gene emphasized that the industry today is full of people who love scandal, love gossip, and love exposing sensitive information, but none of them understand the real danger that exposing the wrong story can bring. Mase and Cam, in Gene's eyes, were drifting too close to that edge. Not intentionally, not recklessly, but casually, and sometimes casual can be more dangerous than deliberate. Gene's warning was a way of saying, I've survived too much to watch y'all walk blindly into the same fire. Mase and Cam took the message seriously because they know Gene isn't a clout chaser. He's not someone who jumps into conversations for views. When Gene speaks, it's because the situation requires real attention, and the way he addressed them wasn't aggressive. It was protective. It was like an OG telling the younger homies, you're doing great, but don't forget how real it can get. The biggest takeaway from all this is how thin the line is between entertainment and danger in hip-hop. The culture loves talking about the past, but rarely thinks about the trauma behind it. Gene reminded the world that behind every legendary moment is a price that someone paid, sometimes with freedom, sometimes with their life. Mase and Cam realized that laughing through those stories without context can disrespect the people who never healed from them. The fans also learned something important. The 90s and early 2000s aren't just nostalgia. They're war stories, they're survival stories. And when people like Mase, Cam, and Gene speak on them, they're not just giving entertainment. They're revealing pieces of history that shaped hip-hop forever. Gene's warning wasn't meant to silence them. It was meant to guide them, to protect them, to keep them aware that certain shadows still move quietly in the background. And the deeper their show goes, the more careful they need to be. In the end, Mase and Cam showed maturity by acknowledging the message. Gene showed leadership by delivering it. And the culture walked away with a reminder that sometimes the funniest conversations carry the heaviest truths. And not every truth is meant to be spoken without caution.